Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, welcome to my stream, and welcome to chapter 2, working on this guy right there, the 1967 Shelby GT350. I will run that intro and we'll get started right away, okay? You guys know that last time we basically focused on the engine, which is this guy right here. I have the transmission painted and mounted now, and so he's looking pretty in his nice new home. I did manage to get that extra engine mount, or not extra, but I got that engine mount relocated there. I added a couple little bits of styrene. I trimmed a couple of little things like off of the sprues, like the little numbers, just a couple of little plates to add just a little bit of reinforcement on that to make sure that's nice and sturdy in there. And so our engine now is going to sit in there like this in its new home, just like that, and it's going to look pretty good. Okay. So let's focus today on the next step. We're not going to be working on the engine today. It's going to be more front suspension stuff. So I'll change the camera and we'll see what's next, okay? All right. So this stuff here, I'm going to be working on that stuff right there, okay? So I can get my tape off of the chassis. This was just to help keep the transmission in line when I was doing my fitting there. Okay, so we have some shocks, coilover shocks. We've got some pins and some cross braces, stuff like that. So let's see what we got here. What sprue are they coming off of? This is more engine stuff, and that's for the rear end. We'll deal with rear end. Rear end's going to be a whole different ball game when we get to it. So we got to find parts like 23, 33, 20 is right here. I've already got that because I was dealing with where the engine's located. 22, let's find the sprue that's got that stuff. Well, here's 33. This is our cross brace, or I guess transmission mount, you could say. That's the transmission mount right there. Gonna need that. And here we go. Our rack and pinion steering. Was it rack and pinion back then in 67? I don't know if it was. I don't think so. I think this was before rack and pinion. So we need that. Anyway, that's our steering linkage right there. We need our shocks. Where are those? Number 24. That's these two here. Now the shocks, I think I might want to paint before I actually install them. So I'm just going to put them to the side here. And then we need these guys, number 21 right and 20. It's these two. And these two are another thing that are going to be, so this is the left, so I'm going to put this guy over here, and this is the right. He goes here. And then our disc brakes, 505. I have a feeling those are chrome. Chrome? Yeah. Chrome disc brakes. Which is fine. It's a detail that's not really noticeable, especially with the style of wheels that this kit comes with. The wheels that it comes with, they're not hollow. There's no holes in them. They're just solid, so you're never going to see the disc break through them. So why they went with chrome on the discs, I don't know. But My thing that I'm thinking about is lowering the front end. So this guy goes like this in here. Whoops. Now where'd he go? Here he is. Getting it into that hole. Get in your home. You're too good for your home? Get in your home. Yeah. The pin is a little fat to fit in that hole. So I'm going to see if I can drill out that hole a little bit. Grab one of my drill bits. That bit seems a little bit, it's close to the size. No, it doesn't do anything. I need a bigger bit. I do have bigger bits. This is definitely a bigger bit. Probably too big, but yeah. It's going to add a lot of slop to it, but it might allow it to go in there. So I'm not sure if they want the hole. See, on this one, the hole, you can see there's a little hole going all the way through. This one, it's not. So, but I'm not sure if that's intentional or if they want it to go all the way through in order to fit flush, or if they just want it kind of sitting in there. In any case, I'm going to just clean up the edges of this pin a little bit. There's a little tiny bit of parting line on there. So we'll just see. I'll do the bottom too since I'm working on it. You can see the seam line right there, or a molding line, molding seam, whatever you want to call it. But the mold wasn't, you know, you guys know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, anyway, that's in there. So we'll see how our little sandwich works, because this is supposed to go in here. So when this is in, the bigger one, the bigger pin goes in here. And that's actually a pretty good fit. So we'll see how that fits. Let's see, just the right way around. So with that not going in all the way, it won't allow this to go down as far as it needs to. So that definitely that hole needs to be deeper. This hole up here needs to be elongated, because this won't go down all the way. So that means we're going all the way through. We're going to drill all the way through, which means I need a proper drill bit size. Okay, so I have a couple of other bits over here we're going to see. I think these are too big though. Yeah. So I need to get a proper size. Something a little bigger than this, but a little smaller. Bigger and smaller. Smaller than this guy, but yet big. This one is just too big. And it's going to make it sloppy, and I don't want sloppy. I think I've got some extra bits in this one. Yeah. I think maybe this guy might be the candidate we're looking for. Yeah. Doesn't hurt to have lots of drill bits. So we're going to drill this out. Oh, we gotta be tight here. Not tight enough. Yeah, that's the problem with this one, is the chuck doesn't tighten enough to actually hold the bit. I'm saying, just even though that's tight, it still slides out. That's what this one is for. That's why I bought this one. So this one has different sized chucks that I can actually fit. See, that's going to be a good one. So this one, swap out the chuck, put it in there. That in there, tighten up. Oh yeah, nice and tight. Good. See, just like that. And just like that, we're through. This one also. Don't put your finger right on the end, okay? Guys, don't do this. Don't do that. Don't drill into your finger, okay? Make sure your finger's off to the side so that when that goes through, because when you poke through, you don't really have a lot of control on how violently that goes through the hole. So, yeah. I'm just going to make sure I go at little angles to widen it up. That's a little trick to widen it up a little bit. Okay. Now, let's try this again. Here we are. This guy facing this direction. Let's go in the hole. You gonna go in your hole? Go in your hole. It's a tight, tight fit, but hey, we're there. We got it. Okay. We got it. Just like that. All right. Now, test fit. Now that goes. Now that'll drop down and sit where it wants to. That's nice. Good. I'm gonna have to hold it. I'm gonna have to push down just a little bit because it is tight. It's a tight. The tolerances are pretty tight. It's tight like a toiger. Okay. But we're there. Okay. Let's get this guy and put him on his side. I might have to clean this guy up too. Yeah. And I also got to clean up my mess of drill bits. Just make sure that this guy's nice and clean. And the holes are good. His pegs are good. Yep. See, what I'm thinking of doing, I'm thinking of cutting this peg off where it's going to go on the wheel and relocate it so that the car's lowered. It lowers the car down. That's kind of what I'm thinking of doing. Okay, put him in his hole. Again, it's tight, yeah. That's okay. The steering is not meant to move in this kit, so he can sit just like that where he belongs. And then put our lower steering arms on. Like so. Up. There we go. And that's how that's going to go together. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this and we'll let that set up. I'm going to change my glasses. I'm here struggling and suddenly I want to see something far away and I can't. look up close at something and then I can't because I've put my glasses back on and blah blah blah. Yeah, okay, so glue in there on our front tie rods, and then we want to get in here and get these pieces. I think I want to clamp that down. I want to get a clamp in there if I can and make sure that's tight. Let's see if this will hold. It's not really holding that part. I don't care so much. I don't care so much if I get these glued in. I get our actual spindles glued in right now. It's all about getting this part glued in. And I want to get that nice and tight in there. Let's see. But getting this in there, my clamp might be a little too small. Might have to go with these ones. Let's see. So I want to get right in there. This doesn't open up far enough. Okay, let's try this clamp. Nope. Let's try one of my big ones. These ones definitely open far enough, but this might be a little too heavy-handed. These really clamp down, and it might be a little too much. I mean, it's going to work. It's going to hold it for sure. Let's get some glue in there. Figure out where I need to glue now that I can't see it. I've got the clamp in there, now I can't see. So let's just do this. It's right in there. Right in there. See, that's what I wanted. I'm trying to avoid. There we go. Okay. I'll get another one so we can do the other side. So my instructions are threatening to fall off here. Get some glue right in there. And see, this came out, so I'm going to be screwed. Where did I didn't even notice that fall down. See what happens when you're not paying attention? It's not on my sheet, which means it's probably on the floor, falling down somewhere, and I don't know where.
Eventually.
Okay, where were we? Let's get this back together. Spindle goes back in. Okay, spindles back in, and have to reapply the glue. And then get our clamp on there. course, my clamp placement is pretty critical. There we go. Okay, so with that done, the clamp's on there. I'm going to take a minute to clean up my mess here. Clean up all my drill bits. So clean all this up. Put in the drill bit that I had in there because I like it. This is the one I use most often. If I can actually get it in there. There we go. Okay. I might as well leave this one in there too. Sitting on top of each other, not supposed to. Let's just drop everything today, why don't we? Drop everything, yeah. Okay, there's that. And then this guy. Okay, now my drill bits are cleaned up. I think my clamps probably done the job. But I'm going to leave them on there for now. We can put our transmission brace. Now it's got a big pin that's supposed to go on the bottom of the transmission right there. Okay, there was a hole in the bottom of the transmission where that was going to mount. But because this is not going to be exactly the same, I already determined it's probably not going to mount in the exact same spot, so I've got to trim this pin off. Okay, so I'm going to just cut that pin away like this. Okay, and I'll just make sure it's nice and flush, so the transmission can still sit on that little post, but doesn't have to rely on that peg going in the bottom of it anymore. So there we go. So we've trimmed that away. And this guy is supposed to go, he goes back here. Looks, I mean, it's hard to tell whether they're talking about it going behind these little nubs sticking up or if it goes on them. I'm going to guess because there's a couple of little notches in there that it's supposed to go on them. I just don't know. You can see how it's not just straight. It's kind of curved like this, right? A little bit. And it cannot tell in the instructions which way it's supposed to go. So we're just going to have to do trial and error. Drop that on. It could be this way. But it also could be this way. It fits either way. And I don't know which way it's supposed to go. Really, you cannot tell here which way it's supposed to go. It says shown in position. Right, really, does it? I don't see it in position. Let's take a look at other pictures. Maybe they do show it. And they do not. They don't show it actually mounted. They sure here. They don't. They just don't put in the detail here. Really open this up and see if there is any. There are no other pictures of the underneath at all. So I'm just guessing. I'm totally guessing. I don't know. Totally guessing which way it's supposed to go. I'm gonna put it this way. I got 50% chance it's right? Actually, actually, it doesn't seem to really want to lock in that direction. Of course, we've got ejector pin mark right here, which could interfere with the fitment. So let's shave that flat. This side too, same thing. Little ejector pin sticking out. A little bit of flashing. Let's clean that up. Okay, let's try this again. It doesn't seem to really want to lock in when I have it facing this way. Mind you, it doesn't really lock in when I have it facing this way either. Okay, well, maybe I can figure this out. I'm going to get rid of my big honking clamps. These are in, and they ain't going nowhere. Okay. I can move these back to their neutral position. Okay. Let's drop our engine in. Engine's going right there. And this is going this way. Kind of lines up, but not quite. It seems to sit a little more centered over that spot where that hole was. The hole was right here. So I'm going to put it in that way. And that's how it's going to sit. Just like that. Okay? Let's get that out of there. Hold this in spot. In place. Kind of over its... It's not even... I'm going to bend it down a little bit. There. Now it locks into place a bit better. There we go. Okay. Tranny mount. Or transmission cross brace, whatever you want to call it. That is installed. Next, we can do our steering control. This little guy right here. And they want him facing this direction. And he's going to go like this. So this end of the steering cylinder is going to go in this hole here. And then basically our two pins here and here are going to line up on our little arms, steering knuckles there and there. This is where your steering alignment is going to be important, which is why I have not glued these yet, because I didn't know exactly how they're all going to sit. So as you move this, you can move our steering and get the steer cylinder to line up for his hole. So I don't really want to get in this hole. Get in your hole. I'm going to have to open up that hole a little bit. You know, sometimes you just need a little help, and then the hole needs to be opened a little bit for you to get in there. Right? scraping. There we go. Sometimes you need a little help putting it in the hole. There we go. Get her all lined up. All 3 points lined up. When you get everything lined up, then it's gonna feels good. Okay, steering's in the hole. Got one more point to here. There. That's lined up, that's lined up. This guy needs to be lined up. There we go. Now what's funny is it seems like we've got a little bit of toe out on our wheels. Glue there, which also means I'm going to glue in there. Now I've got these all in the perfect spot where it all lines up, which means I can glue my axles in, or should I say my spindles. Get those glued in place so they don't move. Just like that. I do feel like there's a little bit of toe out. It's just a little, I'd like to just correct that a little bit if I can, even if that means putting just a little bit of pressure on the steering rods, but that's okay. There we go. Steering's in. Now the last thing they would have us do is put in our disc brakes. That's kind of neat. They've added the detail of the caliper on there, but I'm not going to do these yet. Now which way? They want the brake caliper on the front side, which is actually a little bit strange. They usually have the calipers on the rear. So he would sit like this. I'm going to sit on there like this, right? But because, like I mentioned, I'm going to have to wait. I'm going to let this all dry, and then I'm going to clip off this peg, and I'm going to mount it a little bit higher so that the wheel, it's the stock wheels. I'll show you. These kits, they don't really design them to really have the wheel sitting tucked up in the wheel well very much. So I'll just kind of tuck this in here like this. How this is going to sit. She's going to sit right around. Let's see. Let's get the frame matched up. Yeah, right there. There's two pegs here and here to line up with these two holes here and here. So you get those lined up. That's exactly where the frame's supposed to sit. Like that. Okay. And there's, you get your idea of where your wheels are going to sit on the front. Okay. Like that. So you put a wheel on like that and get it centered. This is just example. Okay. And the wheel sits right about there. But I'd like the wheel to be tucked up in a little bit, and I'll have this car lowered. Right? I don't want the wheel like this. I want it tucked up in there like that. A little bit. Right? Now these are pretty big wheels, right? If I could use the actual kit tire, let's open up this bag, I'll show you. Here's the ones that come in the kit. Let's just this up and have a look. So here's one of the front wheels, and I have the rim already taken off the sprues, so let's just do this. Okay, so there's you're doing the kit wheel, right? And there you go. Okay, so then let's just grab onto this here. And I'll turn it over so you can see. This is how the wheel's going to sit. It's like this. Okay. Let me get this back locked into its home. It's not a great fit. I'll tell you that. It doesn't fit that wonderfully. It might be because the rear is not. There we go. Okay, so there, we're locked in. We're locked in, and pick this up. Center that on that, and there you go. Okay, that's where your wheel sits. So you can see the top of the tire. I want to tuck the tire into the fender, even if it's only a millimeter or so. I want to tuck that in there. Okay, it looks a lot better. It looks cooler when the wheel is just tucked in a little bit in the top there. Not like crazy, like going like this, like it's a lowrider or something stupid, but just a little bit. I want it tucked in there, right? I don't want to see the top of the tire when I look at the car from the side. I want to see that the tire's tucked. So that's what I want to do, and that's why I want to move this spindle up, even if it's only like 1 millimeter or maybe a millimeter and a half. Just at the top of the spindle here would be perfect for me. I'd be happy with that, right? And so that's what I'm going to do. But I have to kind of wait till this is all glued in nice and tight. Now you guys might notice I've trimmed out the edge here. We're getting prepared for the rear end. In fact, what I'm going to do now, because I can't really do much with this, I got to let this set, and that means I'm going to have to wait like hours. I want to wait hours for the glue to really cure. I've got about 15 minutes. I want to get the rear end assembled, or at least the two halves of the rear drive shaft put together anyway, or the rear axle, or axle housing. And so this is this part here. We're not going to be putting anything on the car yet because I got a lot of cutting to do. We're going to be doing a lot of cutting. Now, our frame rails here that are going in, I've already shaved these off. I used one of my little razor saws that I have for my this guy here, and just kind of went and worked on that, and I trimmed it all underneath there. Okay, and loosen that up so you can see this frame is, I can move this now. You see this is flexible here, right? Because this is cut loose all the way to here, up to the bend. Okay, same with this guy. Okay, because I am going to cut away in here, and I got to cut in here to allow for some much bigger tires that are going to be going on this car. These are 3D printed Mickey Thompson Sportsman Pros. By Iceman Collections. I've got drag lights in here. These do come out, even though it all looks like one piece. These rims do come out like that. All right, 3D printed resin, not vinyl, and yeah, they're really nice. Detail is fantastic on them, and the fit is really good. I do recommend, check out Iceman Collections. Check out his website. Yeah, he sells all kinds of stuff. I'm not necessarily using these exact tires on the car, but this is the size that I need to go for. That's my reference for what I'm putting in this thing. I've already done a little bit of fitment things. I know that I've got to cut at least right up to the edge of the fuel tank mount here. Okay, and then I'm going to channel these frame rails to go in there, kind of give me an idea of a little bit of realism. I can't use the The leaf springs that come in the kit, those would mount here and all the way back to here. That ain't gonna work at all, right? So the car's not gonna have leaf spring suspension. We're gonna do 4-link. So I'm gonna try and mock up a 4-link suspension. But anyway, I gotta get the rear axle housing done. And so I gotta find that, and that's right here, these two pieces. Whoop. We gotta get these two halves put together, because the rear end's gonna have to be narrowed also. So I need to know how narrow I need to make it. That's nice. Ejector pin sticking out there, gonna reduce my chances of getting the two halves together. Okay, so I gotta figure out which way these go. Definitely ain't that way. Now, I'm not sure what rear end this is supposed to be. It looks like it might be a 9-inch rear end, a Ford 9-inch. I gotta love the molding they do on this. It's not even straight. I think I might have it backwards. Yeah. There we go. Still not straight, but not exactly the greatest molding. I do have some, I have resin on Ford 9-inch rear ends. There we go. And they're narrowed too. But I don't want to use that in this. I think I can get away with using the kit rear end and just chop it up a little bit. There we go. Let's glue her together. And there we go. Okay. Yeah, because I think I want to utilize I want to keep this section. I don't want to just chop, right? I want to keep the original, so I might chop it back here and then cut my section out here and then glue this part in closer so that I retain the actual mounts, these mounting ribs, so I can do my 4-link suspension on them. The exhaust, I think what I want to do with the exhaust is, because I'm not going to be able to do this whole section here, I might cut the exhaust off here at the end of our, what would these be? Resonators maybe? I'm not sure. But I could say, hey, these are maybe glass packs, and then just curve the exhaust tips out, down, just bend them down here, and do that. Let me take a look at the exhaust. Where is the exhaust? Here's our exhaust right here. You know, my first instinct with the exhaust was to just, you know, cut it right here, but that wouldn't be realistic, and because nobody does that. Well, maybe drag racers, if it's a drag racing only car, if it's a track only, yeah, drag racers will cut off the exhaust, you know, right down here and here, and that's it, just at the end of the headers. But we're going to assume this car's driven on the street. even if only limited, a limited amount. So this would be sitting like this and go in and bend down like this, but I don't want it bending up towards the chassis. I want it bending down, going down this way. So I'm gonna heat these up and bend them out down, curve them down. And so I'll just do that right now. I'm gonna grab my torch, if I can find it in here. Do my torch, and let's do this, and start that. There we go, I'm getting there. I think that's good. Now it's really bent out of whack, isn't it? But I can do that. That allows me to do something like this. And now it looks like they're bent down. Just that little bit. See that? This got them bent a little bit down. And so I can now turn these into pipes instead of just solid bars. Poke a little pilot hole right in the center. It's going to do this. Okay. Do the same with this one. Okay. Now doing that with the knife is going to give me a nice. Now my drill bit won't jump, and I can drill a nice little hole. Just like that. And now I've got a pipe. And now I've got pipes, just like that. All right. And of course, I'm going to have to prime these, and I'll paint them. Paint them all up aluminum, nice and shiny. I've got some molding seams on these. Don't look very nice, but that's the nature of the beast when it comes to these pipes. Clean those up. Get rid of those mold seams. There we go. And so now they're going to dump. Basically, it's going to sit right around there like that, and they dump just before the rear axle, and it looks like a good street strip exhaust system, right? Now you could even go a step further and actually mold these so that you've got a side exhaust sticking out like that in front of the tires. I used to have a 78 Mustang that I used to drag race, and I had my exhaust like that, sticking out just in front of the rear tires. But that was a long time ago. Okay, let's clean up my shavings here. So that is pretty much it that I can do for today. In similar fashion, I want to let this glue set. I want to let that cure properly. Okay. I kind of just got to play the waiting game now. I want to let the glue cure properly, and before I do any cutting on it. Same with the front. I want to make sure the glue is nice and solidly dry some hours from now, and let that cure properly. And same with the rear axle. I don't want to cut this while the glue is still setting up, because then things can move and stuff like that, and it just makes it a big headache, right? So that is where I'm going to leave this for today, guys. There's not much I can do anymore right now. I'm just going to have to wait. And so that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching, and thank you for showing up, and thank you for the comments. Even though I had somebody comment on my last video about Bitcoin, whatever, not interested in Bitcoin whatsoever. But yeah, you know, it takes all kinds, right? So yeah. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for getting me over 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to actually work on the Porsches a little bit later today with my fiance. So yeah, that should be fun. And yeah, thanks guys. And we'll see you all in the next one.